All right, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go through Act 2 very quickly, okay? So in our textbook, it's page 401. Act 2, Scene 1. It starts off with a chorus. If you remember, Act 1 started off with a chorus, that famous prologue, two households, both alike in dignity. Anyway, we start off with the chorus here, and the chorus basically summarizes everything that we already know. The chorus says, "Now old desire doth in his deathbed lie, and young affection gapes to be his heir." So the old desire is Romeo's love for Rosaline, and it's dead. And the new love, which wants to be its heir, its inheritor, right? It wants to be the child of. The old love is dead. The new love has been born. And of course, that is Juliet. Okay? That fair for which love groaned for and would die with tender Juliet matched is now not fair. Now Romeo is beloved and loves again. Beloved means to be loved. And so what this means is that Juliet has matched his love. She has returned his love, something Rosaline never did. And Romeo feels that love, and he loves Juliet, and Romeo and Juliet are in love. That's what the chorus says. All right. Moving on. Scene 1. Near Capulet's orchard, Romeo and Benvolio are chatting, and let's see here. They are looking for Romeo. They say, "Where can Romeo be?" And then they call him out, "Romeo, Romeo." And they say, "Oh, he's gone home to bed because the party's over." And they don't know where he is. He's hiding up here. He can hear them, but he's not responding. And he's listening to them make fun of him. They're listening to him make fun of Rosaline because they think he loves Rosaline. Okay? So anyway, they don't find him, and they go, "Enough with you. We're going home to bed." And they leave. And that's where we get the very famous balcony scene. Act 2, Scene 2 is the very famous balcony scene. Juliet's up in her balcony outside of her bedroom, and Romeo's hiding in the bushes. First, Romeo listens, and he says to his friends, you don't know what pain you're mocking me. He says, "He jests at scars that never felt a wound. You're teasing my love, but you don't even know what it feels like." So, "What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon." So Romeo says that Juliet is as beautiful as the sun as he looks up into her room. And he's looking at her, and she's so beautiful. And then he makes this beautiful metaphor saying that her eyes are as beautiful as the stars, and that if her eyes really were stars, then her face is more beautiful than the stars themselves. And he just goes on describing how Juliet is so beautiful, so wonderful, so majestic, so incredible. All right. So Juliet comes out and she speaks to herself. She just, after the party, she's just in her room by herself, and she's just talking out loud by herself, and she's looking off into the distance at nothing in particular. She says, "Romeo, Romeo, why are you called Romeo? If you had any other name, then we could be in love easily. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, I shall no longer be called a Capulet." She says, "Change your name. And if you won't change your name, I'll change my name. But at least then we can be together, and we don't have to be enemies. We don't have to be Capulet and Montague. We can just be a person and be in love." All right. And then she also says the very famous lines, "What's in a name? All right, what makes you a Montague?" It's a good question. Is it your name that makes you who you are, or something else? All right. Romeo jumps out of the bushes and says, "Oh, here I am. I'll change my name, whatever you want. I hate my name. Let's be in love." For a moment, she's a little bit taken aback at a strange man jumping out of the bushes and looking up in her bedroom window late at night. But then she recognizes the voice and says, "I know who you are. I love you." Let's see here. Juliet fears for Romeo's safety because she knows that if he gets caught, he will be killed. Her family will kill him on the spot. All right. So they talk back and forth. Lots of good language there. Again, we're just doing a quick summary here. And basically, line 143 or something, Juliet says, if your purpose is marriage, send me a message tomorrow. I will send a messenger to you, and then you can tell the messenger, and they'll come back and tell me. She says, where and what time that we will perform the rite to get married. So if you're serious, send me a message tomorrow about when we can get married. Romeo's like, all right, sweet. Okay, we get the sweet, sweet lines, 1,000 times good night. And Romeo says this great line. He says, 1,000 times the worse to want thy light. He says, love goes towards love, love towards love, the same way that schoolboys go from their books. And when you are done with school Friday, the week before spring break, you throw your books in the corner and you run and you play and you forget all about school. That's what love is like. That's that joy. He says, but love going from love is the same as school with heavy looks. So when you're getting up Friday morning, you got to come to school. You're like, Mama, don't make me go. That's the same emotion when love has to leave love. So it's this great metaphor. Love towards love with joy, love away from love with deep sorrow and sadness. Similar to how we experience school emotions. All right. Juliet finishes the scene by saying, good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Oh, that's sweet. Good lines. All right. Romeo then runs off towards towards Friar Lawrence's room. So it's now early, early morning the next day. Okay, last night was the party. They stayed up in the garden all night long, early in the morning, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. He runs to Friar Lawrence's room. All right, so that's where we take up with scene 3. All right, what special knowledge does Friar Lawrence have? He says in line 15, oh, mickle is the powerful grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities. For not so vile that on this earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. The earth has great things within it that grow naturally. And he says, and he holds up this flower, he says, within the infant rind of this sweet flower, the rind, the outer skin, just like you would peel an orange, that's the orange rind. It says, within this outer skin of this flower, poison hath residence and medicine power. Well, residence is to reside or to live. Poison lives here and medicine lives here. So Friar Lawrence knows how to take natural plants and herbs and do incredible things with them. He can make a poison or he can make a medicine. That's what he knows. He is a botanist. So that's what we really get from here. So Friar Lawrence is giving his soliloquy. He's talking. Romeo shows up. And Friar Lawrence goes, you look tired and disheveled. You look like you didn't sleep last night. And Romeo goes, I know, I didn't sleep last night. I was with my enemy. In fact, I got hurt by my enemy. And I hurt my enemy too. I was like, what are you talking about? You're hurt? Are you hurt? You hurt somebody? What are you doing? And Romeo's like, no. I had a sweet time. The sweet rest was good. And Friar Lawrence's like, were you sinning with Rosaline all night long? I was like, no, I'll tell you plainly. He says, look, I was with the daughter of mine enemy, Juliet Capulet. She fell in love with me, and I fell in love with her. And we want to get married today. What do you say? You want to marry us? Friar Lawrence is like, what? This is too fast. Too sudden. This is a bad idea. He says, I told you to stop loving Rosaline because you just had a boyish crush. I didn't mean for you to get over Rosaline and find a new love immediately. And then Friar Lawrence finishes with this, line 90. He says, in one respect I'll thy assistant be. For this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancor to pure love. So he says, look, I'll help you for one reason. Rancor, of course, is hatred. he says, we can turn the households, the Montagues and the Capulets, we can turn their hatred into love by uniting their children in marriage, making the city, the community, the town, everyone who lives here is so much happier because there won't be any fighting anymore. Think back to Act 1, Scene 1, the fighting in the street. The prince said, anyone who, if you fought here 3 times, if you fight again, you're going to die. Friar Lawrence is like, maybe this is part of the solution. So Friar Lawrence says, yes, I will help you get married. I will marry you today. All right. Which now transitions us to Scene 4. They're in the street. Mercutio and Benvolio are hanging out. Tybalt has sent a challenge to Romeo, and Benvolio, the ever faithful and loyal friend, says Romeo will answer the challenge. Romeo's no coward. Romeo will fight it. And Mercutio says, be careful, because Tybalt is a good swordsman. He's the prince of cats. He's the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song, keeps time, distance, proportion. He rests the minimum rest, 1, 2, and the third, in your bosom. It makes it sound like Tybalt is almost a musician with his sword. He knows how to keep time. He knows how to use the sword well, the same way a conductor uses a baton in an orchestra. Okay, so Tybalt is a great fighter. And Mercutio says, so be careful, Romeo. Be careful. All right. Romeo shows up. Romeo and Mercutio get into a spat of wits, but it's funny, and they're teasing each other, some dirty jokes in there, and they're having a lot of fun. And Mercutio says, there art thou, Romeo. He says, line 84, now art thou sociable, now art thou Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this driveling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide a bubble in a hole. We are so sick of your whining little love misery, but we're really happy you're here making jokes. That's the Romeo we love. This is Romeo. He's back, baby. And then the nurse walks up. And they say she looks so fat and so funny, and she's probably got this big white dress and a big white veil, and it's blowing in the wind, and they say basically, a sail, a sail. And they're saying, she's as fat as a boat. Here she comes. So it's kind of this funny scene. She walks up and goes, I need to speak to Romeo. Which one of you is Romeo? Romeo's like, I am. His friends laugh. Dude, the fat, ugly old woman wants to talk to Romeo. Romeo and the bow. And they're teasing him. They're like, Romeo, we'll see you at your parents' house. We're going to go get some food. You join us when you're done. They leave. Romeo and the nurse are together. And the nurse says, what's the plan? And Romeo says, does Juliet have permission to come to church this afternoon? To go to confession? Yes. Then send her to Friar Lawrence's room where he is going to get us married. The nurse is very happy about this. Okay. Romeo says, bring these cords made like a tackled stair, which the high-top gallant of my joy must be the convoy in my secret night. So he gives the nurse a rope ladder so that Juliet can throw the rope ladder out of her balcony so that they can be married in secret. And then sometime later that night, Romeo can climb the stairs, the rope ladder up into Juliet's bedroom, and they can hang out. You know, wedding night hangouts. Scrabble, Parcheesi, checkers, Connect Four, those kinds of things. That's what married people do when they're married. They play board games. It's fun. Let you talk to your mom and dad about that one. All right. And then we end with scene 5 and 6. So this happens at 9 o'clock in the morning. They're in the town square. The nurse and Romeo just made the plan. The nurse has left. Romeo's probably gone back home to meet with his family to eat lunch or whatever. And Juliet is at home and she's stressing out. And she says, where the devil be the nurse? Right? She promised to come back in half an hour, but it's been 3 hours now. She left at 9. It's noon. Where is she? The nurse shows up, and the nurse goes, oh, I'm so tired. I've been doing all of this work for you. My bones hurt. My back hurts. I'm out of breath. And Juliet's like, how can you say you're out of breath? It takes breath to say you're out of breath. If you had just said what you had to say, instead of saying you were out of breath, you could have told me the message already. Juliet's kind of freaking out. And the nurse finally says, His face is better than any man's. His leg is pretty good. His hand, his foot, his body. They're all very good. In fact, they're past compare. She says, go to church this afternoon, or Romeo will wait to make you his wife. All right. So Juliet's very excited, and the nurse is, very thrilled at Juliet's happiness. As I said before, the nurse really is kind of like a mother to Juliet. Their relationship is very close. Juliet has a mother, but her mother and her relationship is pretty distant. All right, let's finish it up. Scene 6 is very easy. Romeo and Juliet are there. Friar Lawrence says, let's do this. Let's get you married. Okay? But he does give some really important advice. We're going to pause here on line 9 for just a moment. He warns, he says, these violent delights have violent ends. Your violent joy, your explosive joy. You guys met last night. You're getting married this afternoon, so it's been less than 24 hours. It's a violent delight. And it might have a violent end. Harken back to the prologue, right? Where the children of these two foes take their life. Remember? He kind of warns them. He says, it's like fire and powder. Fire, of course, is fire, and gunpowder. And when fire and gunpowder kiss, they explode. And we all love fireworks. We love big explosions like that. They're awesome. But when they're done burning out, they're gone. And you're left with nothing. He says, explosive love is like a firework. It's awesome in the moment and then gone the next. He continues and says, your love is like honey. Honey is so sweet and delicious. But if you eat too much honey, it will make you sick. He says, you guys are just so into this right now. Now, if you are a responsible adult, Friar Lawrence, you should have stopped right there and said, take some time. Like Capulet said, wait 2 years, woo, date, fall in love. Instead, Friar Lawrence is like, be careful, your love's like a firework. When it explodes, it burns out quick. Your love's like honey. It's really good, but then it'll make you sick after too much of it. Oh, well, let's get you married. He just he says, love moderately. Long love doth so. Love evenly. Love smoothly. Love plainly. Let your love be good, but let it last. That's how long love lasts. Let's go get you married. And you're just like, wait, what? You just gave this great advice, and now oh, Friar Lawrence, come on, man, you're killing me. All right. So the scene ends. Romeo, Juliet, and Friar Lawrence exit the stage, and they are going to go get married. They don't actually get married in front of the audience, which I always think is interesting. But they do go off to get married. All right, hopefully that quickly summarizes the entirety of Act 2. Thank you for your paying attention. All right, ladies and gents, we'll talk to you later. Bye.